back with you here on KBBF 89.1 FM and on the web at kbbf.org. And we are now joined by my colleagues over there from Santa Rosa City Schools. And today we have Eric and we have Kesa, who are both working for Santa Rosa City Schools. Kesa is somebody who works in student services, and then Eric works in mental health. And so I am always grateful that you all come onto the show. We are providing information to the community. Parents have an easier time getting it this way rather than reading it or trying to access it on your website or in other locations. So, Eric, do you want to get started? Kesa, no sé, I'm not, who wants to get started? Okay, Kesa.
Muy buenas noches. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here on the radio. Siempre es un placer aquí estar con KBBF. Y queremos discutir un tema de que hemos pasado un tiempo de muchas etapas de trauma. So we have been through a recent season of many traumas in our town. Como una ciudad hemos pasado por la tristeza, la matanza de Andy Lopez. We have, survived the shooting of Andy Lopez 6 years ago. And after that time, we've had many fires, lockdowns, the pandemic, distance learning, a lot of stress with economic, social, and political stress. Entonces, hemos pasado un tiempo de muchos, después de la matanza de Andy López, muchos fuegos, situaciones difíciles con el pandémico, con aprender a distancia y también otros fuegos y de todos, mucho estrés económico, social y político, incluso a otros días cuando cerramos las escuelas por el humo. So we have closed the school on some days because of smoke. Y después de todo este trauma, etapas de trauma, a veces decimos es la lasaña de trauma. O sea, es como
uno y
chilaquiles
otro y
de
otro,
trauma.
exactamente, yeah.
So we have trauma lasagna. It's these layers of trauma. And after all this trauma, we have a really big need for social, emotional support like never before. Como, más que nunca tenemos una necesidad de ese apoyo de todo lo socioemocional. Quizás lo estoy diciendo mal.
No,
Social emotional need.
Ya, no, es correcto. Todos necesitamos, todas necesitamos ese apoyo. Y el problema es que no sabemos dónde encontrar el apoyo. So often the issue is we don't know where to find the support, right? And I'm grateful that, again, you're making the time to come over and talk to us specifically about that.
So the good news is that over the last 6 years, we've had grants and support from the community in the way of wellness fire recovery. Entonces, lo bueno es que en esos 6 años hemos tenido unas becas y otras oportunidades de recibir dinero, como de la comunidad, de dinero para apoyarnos en recubrir después del fuego. Entonces, este dinero nos da más apoyo que hemos tenido antes de hace 6 años. No tuvimos tanto que tenemos hoy en día. So 6 years ago, we did not have the support and the services that we now have. En más que servicios, son como empleados y personas que tienen posiciones que apoyan mucho a los estudiantes y las familias. So now we have more support services that are employees that have positions that help our students and our families.
Good. And again, that's the idea, right? When you have so much trauma over a period of time, I was talking to somebody else recently who said, I moved over to Sonoma County looking forward to, a beautiful space. And suddenly there was a fire, there was a second fire, then now a third fire. A fourth fire, because we had one in August and then we had the other one in September. And then, as you mentioned, we have the pandemics. And then, as it was mentioned, right, the stress of the elections and all the negative, videos and commercials and everything else that people are being exposed to, or when they drive to the store and they're, being bombarded with all this negativity out there. It takes a toll on the children. It takes a toll on the parents. And one of the things that I've been talking about is the importance of parents, especially in the Latinx community, of parents not using their children as their therapist. Oh, this is how I feel. We are not sure if we are going to have enough money for the rent, this and that and the other. And it just becomes this insane addition of emotional trauma, right? Vicarious trauma often for these children. And it's important that this is addressed. And I'm glad again that you're coming to us with some resources. And I think that's where maybe Eric is going to jump in and tell us about how he's going to solve all of our problems after Kesa, I believe, has a little bit more information. Entonces, es importante de que nos demos cuenta de que ha sucedido tantos problemas. Estaba hablando con alguien esta semana que dice, yo me moví al condado de Sonoma porque es un lugar muy bonito, dice, y de pronto sucedieron incendios, 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 unos en agosto y otros en septiembre. Ya tenemos 4 incendios recientemente en este condado, y luego tenemos la pandemia y ahora tenemos la política y la negatividad que vemos en la internet, en la televisión y a veces en persona. Entonces, lo que le digo a los padres, madres de familia, no usen a sus hijos, sus hijas como sus terapistas. No les cuenten todos sus tramas, no les cuenten todos sus problemas, porque entonces usted se siente mejor, pero imagínese cómo se siente su hijo, su hija. Entonces, Kesa va a tener un poquito más información antes de que Eric empiece a darnos, a resolver todos nuestros problemas de la vida.
So we have in Santa Rosa City Schools, we have our support is organized in a pyramid, and it is called the multi-tiered system of support. Aquí en nuestro distrito de Santa Rosa City Schools tenemos todo el apoyo organizado en un sistema de etapas múltiples del apoyo. Entonces, debajo en el pirámide tenemos 80%, o sea, como todos reciben todo el mundo recibe un tipo de servicio. So at the bottom of the pyramid, everyone gets those supports. It's something we do for all the students. So in elementary school, we have a toolbox tools. En la primaria ahí tenemos para todos los estudiantes un programa que se llama las herramientas de la vida, que se llama Toolbox. Entonces, eso es un apoyo para todo el mundo. Eso se llama etapa 1. So we call this tier 1, and everyone gets things from tier 1. And then if kids still need more help, then they go to tier 2. Tenemos niños que necesitan más apoyo, más ayuda. Ellos van a recibir servicios de etapa 2. Entonces, luego, so it's todos, y luego más etapa 2 es unos, o algunos, y luego encima del pirámide es unos, o poquitos personas reciben el servicio. So we have tier 1, everyone, all. Tier 2 is some, and tier 1 is a few. Just a few kids get that. So Eric Lofty, he's our guy. I think of him as he's the guy in tier 3. And he also helps me organize with other folks services at all the tiers. Yo pienso como Enrique, yo le llamo porque es mi vecino aquí en la oficina. Él es como está encargado de cosas en la tercera etapa. En el encima del pirámide es unos estudiantes reciben este servicio. Gracias, awesome. Eric.
Welcome, yeah. Eric. And now, again, it's important to understand the services that you provide. You've been here on the show once before, at least with me. And again, there has been a change, a shift, I think, within a lot of school districts, including Santa Rosa City Schools, where there appears to be a little bit more of an interest in really understanding the emotional and psychological pieces that go with having a child be successful in the system. So thank you for being here. And again, if you can guide us through the services that you are providing. Entonces, gracias al señor Eric por venir, participar. Parece que Santa Rosa City Schools, como muchos otros distritos, ahora se enfocan más en lo emocional y lo psicológico. ¿Cómo podemos apoyar a las estudiantes para que puedan sobresalir? Entonces, gracias, señor Eric, por estar aquí con nosotros. Nosotras, edúquenos acerca de los servicios que está ofreciendo.
Thank you very much. First, I think it's very important to point out that what we're going through is unprecedented, and what our community is facing and what our families are experiencing we have no map for that. We've been looking for an expert to help us deal with community violence, housing crisis, school closures, public safety power shutoffs, political unrest, and a global pandemic. all at the same time, and they don't exist. There is no expert who can come in and help a school system address all that we've been going through. We have had to become our own experts. Gracias, pero primero quiero empezar diciendo que lo que está pasando es sin precedente. No existe experiencias, nadie ha tenido la experiencia que nosotros estamos viviendo. Hemos buscado un experto quien puede ayudarnos con todo. Nosotros hemos enfrentado la violencia de comunidad, la crisis de sin casas, la cerranza de las escuelas, how do you say public safety power shut off?
O cuando apagaron básicamente la luz para prevenir más incendios, definitivamente.
Gracias, Rafael. Y también la crisis política mezclado adentro de una pandémico global. No existe expertos para estos. Nosotros hemos tenido desarrollar nuestro propio expertidad.
Ujú.
Y nosotros en Santa Rosa City Schools, and we are at Santa Rosa City Schools, we are building a resource list so that we can meet our own mental health needs within the system. Nosotros estamos construyendo servicios adentro del distrito para que nosotros podamos ayudar a alumnos que están enfrentando estos problemas de social emotional learning, que son de problemas emocionales.
Definitivamente emocionales y sociales. Y esto nos trae a una pregunta que yo diría es importante. Anteriormente hemos hablado acerca del número de personas o estudiantes que tal vez no se están presentando a las clases. ¿Qué es lo que está usted aprendiendo acerca de cómo han sido afectadas las estudiantes y de esa manera que si están involucrados en su educación o no? And so one of the things that we've heard is that in many school districts, students are not necessarily participating. There's a lot of absences. How or what have you found as far as how children have been affected in the Santa Rosa City Schools district? And is that preventing these children from participating fully in the learning environment?
What we're seeing is that a lot of our students have barriers to getting into their classes because of the pandemic. A lot of students are having to care for younger siblings. Lo que estamos buscando o lo que hemos notado es que algunos alumnos tienen problemas conectando con su educación porque tienen que cuidar de sus familias y sus niños en la casa por la falta del pandémico. And also there's been a whole other level of technology that we've had to help students with. The district has given out a tremendous amount of hotspots and Chromebooks. También hay problemas de tecnología. Nosotros hemos tenido dar un montón de hotspots y también Chromebooks para que alumnos puedan conectar. Pero esto no arregla todos los problemas, but this doesn't fix all problems.
Yeah, I know that one of the issues that a lot of districts, again, not just Santa Rosa City Schools, but a lot of districts are having just the connectivity. I know this from my personal experience when I have students at Santa Rosa Junior College, and all I hear is ding, somebody just drop off in the class, and then they come back and I have to let them in. And then 5 minutes later, somebody else, and then I get those emails of, I tried to connect, I couldn't connect, my Wi-Fi wasn't working, or we have 4 kids in the household who are using the Wi-Fi. Now they are losing the internet, and somebody gets dropped, and then somebody gets added, and it just becomes really chaotic. And so, how does that affect children emotionally when they're having these issues with connecting to the classes and connecting outside their home to the real world?
Casey, you want to take a crack at that? I mean,
we say that behavior is communication. Decimos que el comportamiento es comunicación y los estudiantes nos están comunicando con sus grados, su asistencia, su comportamiento. So the students are communicating to us about their grades, behavior, and attendance. That's how they're communicating through us. So, we also used a student screener. Usamos un tipo de como una encuesta para encontrar a los estudiantes que necesitan más apoyo por sus respuestas. So we used a student screener or survey to find out from families and students who are the kids that need more help. But we did not get a full response rate back from all of the families or all the students. Lo malo es que no recibimos una respuesta de cada estudiante y de cada familia. Así es que había un grupo de personas a cuales no pudimos apoyar. So there was a group of families that we could not support because we didn't know if they needed us or not. But sometimes we use the attendance to help us decide who we were going to help. If the kids are not coming to school, they are telling us this is not working. Si no están asistiendo a las clases, eso está diciéndonos que esto no funciona para mí. Esa escuela a distancia no funciona. So we have some special teams at the schools, and they were called the attendance re-engagement teams. Tenemos unos equipos de empleados en las escuelas y ellos se llaman de reinvolucrar, el equipo de reinvolucrar a estudiantes en la escuela. Y ellos hacen como un apoyo personalizado. So it's like personalized re-engagement strategies. ¿Qué necesita la familia? ¿Es problema de tecnología? ¿Es problema de comida? ¿Es problema de transportación? ¿Es problema de cuidar a niños y de no tener ganas? So sometimes we find that these students are, there's problems with, transportation, food, housing, or just not feeling like going to school. And so how do we connect kids in a way that is meaningful to them? Es como conectarnos con los estudiantes a quienes no tienen ganas. I don't know if I answered your question, Rafael.
Yeah, you did. And that brings me to another question, and that is, what services are you all providing, whether it is Zoom trainings maybe for parents, so that they know that, again, there's that emotional support, psychological support on behalf of the district. Are you doing any type of series of workshops with parents, for example, or family in general, in regards to what's healthy behavior, what's not healthy behavior, and how do we keep kids engaged? Is any of that happening on behalf of your services? Entonces, una vez más, la pregunta es que si están haciendo estos entrenamientos para los padres o las familias acerca de, pues, posiblemente qué comportamiento en casa es correcto, dónde tienen que empezar a preocuparse de sus niños, sus niñas, y cómo los padres, madres de familia, como mencionaba antes, no pasamos nuestros traumas a nuestros hijos y nuestras hijas.
Got it. We have a bunch of resources on our Integrated Wellness Center webpage. Nosotros tenemos algunos recursos que están notados en nuestra página de web que pueden buscar en la página principal de Santa Rosa City Schools.org. And families can find information at under the Families Integrated Wellness Center. Nosotros también tenemos avance y pasitos que todavía están disponibles. We also have avance and pasitos through the Community Action Partnership. Y tenemos este programa que está conectado a la organización Community Action Partnership.
Entonces, están ofreciendo ese tipo de entrenamientos para los padres y madres de familia, entonces.
Sí, y también estamos llamando familias. Cuando un alumno no está conectando a sus clases, que no está asistiendo, nosotros estamos llamando y preguntando qué está pasando y cómo podemos ayudar. When students aren't connecting to class or attending their courses, we're making sure that we're calling and reaching out to find out what is it that's keeping students from accessing the curriculum.
Definitely. Kesa, I know that you want to contribute on this piece. whatever you can tell us in 50 seconds before we go make our announcements. No pressure.
We say at Santa Rosa City Schools, connection before content. Aquí en el distrito decimos el mensaje de conexión antes del contenido. Así es que los estudiantes no les importa que saben si no saben que ustedes crean o los quieren. So the students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah, that goes back to the research on from the book Subtractive Schooling, where the 15-year-old is asked, why are you not participating in your education? And he says, why should I care about my education when my teacher doesn't care about me, right? So it's very important and very relevant. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of seconds. We're going to do our announcements, and we'll be back with you in this KBBF.
This Thursday at 7 p.m.
No, you
Y
can say
estamos de
that,
regreso
Joe.
con ustedes aquí en KBBF 89.1 FM, Radio Cultura, Radio Comunidad. We are back with you here on KBBF 89.1 FM and on the web at kbbf.org. And we are having a dialogue with our colleagues from Santa Rosa City Schools. I apologize, for whatever reason, the radio itself wasn't working very well. But we're back with you here on KBBF, and we have our colleagues here from Santa Rosa City Schools. Estamos de regreso con nuestros colegas. Ya vamos a terminar esta entrevista, pero una de las cosas que me gustaría es que si ustedes saben entonces de otros recursos o un número de teléfono donde la gente pueda llamar, padres, madres de familia del Distrito Escolar de Santa Rosa, que pudieran llamar para recibir este apoyo de los servicios, ya que hay gente que a veces no puede usar la internet, sea porque no se pueden conectar o simplemente no saben usar esos servicios. And so, again, just to finalize, if you could give us some information in regards to direct, maybe a phone number or some other way where the community members, parents from Santa Rosa City Schools can reach out for emotional support.
Yeah, for emotional support, families can reach out on our phone number at the Wellness Center. It's a non-emergency line, but they can call 890-3827. Sí, claro que sí. Familias pueden llamarnos y dar un mensaje que no es una emergencia, que el número es 707-890-3827. And they can get support for emotional needs through that number. Y pueden recibir apoyo emocional usando este número.
And again, the number is 707-890-3827. Una vez más, para que escriban el número es 707-890-3827. Kesa.
The nice thing is that every single school in Santa Rosa City Schools, every school has their own ELAC committee, the English Learner Advisory Committee. And there's also the district level advisory committee that parents of students who are learning English as a second language can go to these meetings. Lo bueno de nuestro distrito es que cada escuela tiene su propio grupo de ELAC, que quiere decir el Comité de los Aprendices del Inglés. Y pueden participar en este grupo a este nivel, y también en el nivel del distrito tenemos un grupo que se llama DLAC, o el Comité de los Aprendices del Inglés al nivel del distrito. Así es que pueden participar en muchos niveles y queremos escuchar las voces de las familias. We really would like to hear the families' voices.
Y están enfrentando grupos de padres, de familia, para que aprender cómo pueden ayudar a sus hijos más. And these groups are putting together classes that are going to help parents learn ways to help their students more. And they'll be happening in December, que estaría pasando en diciembre.
Good. And with that, I want to thank you all for being here today. Y con eso quiero agradecerles por estar aquí con nosotros, nosotras el día de hoy. Y espero hablar con ustedes en el futuro acerca de más recursos, que si la gente está respondiendo a estos servicios que ofrecen. Entonces, gracias una vez más a la señorita Kesa, al señor Eric, y tuvimos también al señor Steve Misera aquí presentes esta tarde. Thank you again to Kesa, Eric, and Steve for taking the time and being here with us. Thank you.
Muy amable. Gracias.
Bye-bye.
Buenas noches. Thank you.